Hi friends, Rebecca here, the Dragon Librarian from Farmington Community Library, and I've got Zephyr here with me today, and we're going to talk about a book that I am just so excited about. This book is by an author that I have really grown to love. She writes not only YA fiction, but she's written some really great adult books as well, and she actually had two books coming out this year in 2025, and this is the first one, and I've been just eagerly awaiting it when it finally came out last month. I read it immediately and I was just so stoked to talk with you guys about it. And I think even if you haven't read any of her work before, this is a really great book to jump into. So, the author I'm talking about today is Ava Reid, and this is Fable for the End of the World. So I just want to actually show off really quick. This is just the standard edition of this book. Look at how beautiful. It's got this like shiny shimmeriness to it, and then the page edges are also just gorgeous. It's got beautiful end papers, and the library, this is my personal copy, but the library copy is like that too, because like I said, the book is just standard edition. It comes this way, so it is a delight to read just in and of itself because of how beautiful it is, if you like that sort of thing, which I do, absolutely. So this is a book I would recommend first and foremost to anyone who is in a sort of a book hangover from reading the newest Hunger Games book. So if you've read the newest Hunger Games book and you're like, oh my gosh, it was so good, I'm so devastated, I need to read something else that's sort of similar to it, this is the book I would happily point you in the direction towards, because this book is not only a dystopian YA story, but it has a lot of the same vibes as the Hunger Games, I think. Now, I know a lot of books are always getting compared to the Hunger Games, but this one I really do think has a lot of similarities, and especially not just because of the writing or the storyline, but just the tone and the atmosphere of this book feels very Hunger Games-ish to me. So if you love dystopian stories, if you, like I said, if you've read the newest Hunger Games book and you're like, oh, I need more dystopian, give it to me, I would definitely recommend reading this one. So Ava Reid, her previous young adult book was called A Study in Drowning, which happened to be my favorite YA book of the year when it came out. It was either last year or the year before. And then, like I said, she's written some really great adult fantasy books as well. So she's got this really great history of just writing these fantastic books. So I was eagerly awaiting this book. So what is this book about? Well, obviously it's a dystopian, right? And it is set in a world that is basically completely, I said dystopian, but it's like completely ravaged, right? So you have the poor people living in this certain area that is flooded all the time. It's very slum-like. People are scrabbling for materials, for money, for food. And then you have the elite people who live in the city, who pretty much are like District 1 and District 2, right? So they pretty much have the wealth, they have whatever they want. And in this story, there is a thing called the Lamb Gauntlet. Now, the Lamb Gauntlet is essentially a live assassination that is televised. What? Yes, so it is a live assassination. Basically, lambs, the people who are being sacrificed, are people who have overspent on their credit limit. Like, so if you are buying things and you overspend to a certain amount, you are then eligible to be put into the gauntlet. You can also be put into a gauntlet if somebody nominates you to pay off their own debt. Like, say a parent, for example, has a bad medical debt, and they've run up all these bills and they can't pay them. They can put nominate a child to go in there, and it will eliminate some of that debt. So obviously this is a very cutthroat, bloodthirsty area, right? Terrible. So our main character, Inessa, she lives with her mom and her brother, and she helps her brother and basically keep their mom alive, and because their mom is kind of, it's a whole other story, but she's kind of a deadbeat. And they do what they can. So Inessa ends up getting nominated for the gauntlet. She is the next lamb, and she has a certain amount of time to get ready and prepare herself before she's basically hunted through the city where she lives, and she can flee. She has a certain amount of time, I believe it's 24 hours, to flee as far as she can before the assassin comes after her. So the assassin in this book, her name is Melly, and this is basically these girls that are raised from a very young age to be assassins, and that is all they know, and they have their minds wiped every so often, so they have no idea who they used to be, or you know, what their lives used to be like. So Melly is now on the hunt for Inessa, and it is this cat and mouse game between the two of them, and you're wondering whether Inessa is going to escape. Is she going to be the first survivor of this gauntlet? Is Melly going to actually kill her? Because Melly is now having a lot of doubts about the way she was raised and brought up, and if the system is even correct. So this book is obviously a dystopian, it's a thriller, but it's also a mystery too, as the girls try to untangle and figure out all the stuff that is going on in this world and all the corruption and stuff that's going on too. So a lot of action adventure. It's very sci-fi too. It's got a lot of different aspects to it that I think are just super, super enjoyable. I really, really loved it. If you've never read anything by Ava Reid before, you won't know this, but her writing is just so amazing. Like, it's beautifully written, this book, but it's also so well written. So if you're really interested in reading a YA book that is very well written, I would highly recommend this. So this is going to attract a lot of different people to it. But like I said, first and foremost, I think the dystopian crowd, which is funny because in the end of it, Ava Reid actually leaves this little like note in the acknowledgments about how in her formative years, she was a big Hunger Games fan, and how she used to read and write Hunger Games fan fiction. So it definitely inspired her for this story. Highly, highly recommend this book. Do not miss it. Fable for the End of the World. Well, that's what I've got for you guys today. I hope this book sounds really fun and exciting. If so, please feel free to come check it out from Farmington Community Library. And also, thank you so very much for watching, my friends, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day.